Hey, do you know who Carl Lentz is? Yeah, I didn't know either. He's the pastor of Hillsong East Coast. Yeah, I thought Hillsong was just a band too. Well, he just got fired. Welcome back to Bible Bears, everyone. I'm Ryder Cullison. Before we get into the story, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so that you will be alerted when I post new videos. So before we get into why Carl Lentz was fired, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Hillsong Church. Now, for years, I thought Hillsong was just a mega popular praise and worship group that toured the world. But it turns out that Hillsong United, the name of the group, actually hails from Hillsong Church, and that's where they started out. They started out in the youth ministry. They formed the band. Youth ministries have bands. They put the band together. They recorded an album. The rest is history. The actual Hillsong Church was formed in Sydney, Australia in 1983 by pastors Brian and Bobby Houston. Now they have churches in 28 different countries and an average Sunday attendance of around 150,000. Now, Carl Lentz was the pastor of Hillsong East Coast, which is based in New York City. Now, Carl Lentz was an immensely popular pastor, and he hung out with a number of celebrities like Justin Bieber and NBA All-Star Kevin Durant. Just recently, Bobby Houston dropped the boom on Carl Lentz and terminated him from Hillsong East Coast. Houston said the termination was due to leadership issues, breaches of trust, plus a recent revelation of moral failures, but he declined to elaborate further. Now, I'm sure everyone had their assumptions of what moral failure was. We could all conjure images of all the unchristian things that Carl Lentz did in our minds. But Carl Lentz, to his credit, was not going to allow our imaginations to run wild. He released a post on his Instagram with a picture of him and his family where he basically says, when you accept the calling of being a pastor, you must live in such a way that it honors the mandate, that it honors the church, and that it honors God. When that does not happen, a change needs to be made and has been made in this case to ensure that. So he's accepting the fact that he was terminated. This post is very lengthy. I'm not going to read it all to you, but I like the fact that he's accepting. He's not storming off. He's not slamming the door behind him. He's realized that he hasn't lived up to his expectations as a pastor, that there is a bar that you must reach, that you must go over. He's unable to do that. God is what's important here, and he's willing to walk away and accept his fate. Now, he goes on to say, and I'm just paraphrasing here, I was unfaithful in my marriage. He said, that's on me. And basically now he has to work at getting help and rebuilding trust with his wife and his kids. This is a very public Instagram post. His kids are going to see this. He has 2 daughters, a son, from what it looks like in the picture. He's owning up to the fact of what he's done. Now he's got to face his children. His children know that he was unfaithful to their mother. It's an embarrassing situation all around. They were prominent, obviously prominent members of the church. That has all been taken away from him. This is a huge fall from grace, but he's owning it. I appreciate that. Bobby Houston said, in terminating his tenure, we in no way want to diminish the good work he did here. Bobby Houston is not saying we don't like Carl Lentz. He says, I've known Carl Lentz for 20 years. He says, I've known his wife even longer, her whole life. I appreciate what they did with the church. We love them. We forgive them. But just as Carl Lentz owned it, Bobby is saying, look, we have a standard here. He's not living up to the standard. He's got to go. Now, Carl Lentz has asked for forgiveness. I don't know if he's bent the knee and gone to God and asked forgiveness and repented, but if he has, he's been forgiven. So that means us Christians must also to forgive him. Now, yes, it's embarrassing when mega pastors or even our small town pastors, they stumble, they trip, they fall, and they have to leave the church. And then everybody points fingers at Christians. See? You guys aren't so great after all. We don't go to church because we think we're perfect. We go to church because we know how imperfect we are. And despite our flaws, we try to lead. We put ourselves in positions where we try to lead. You can't fault us for that. And whatever good works Carl did at that church shouldn't be diminished. Whatever gospel he preached is not now false because he's stumbled. The lesson learned here is be sober, be vigilant, for your adversary the devil, like a roaring lion, prowls about seeking whom he may devour. That means everybody. There's not a invisible force field around all the pastors. There certainly isn't one around me. Guys, what do you think? I've done similar videos on like this in the past, on Falwell, on Ravi Zacharias, and there's going to be more. But I don't like to cover these things up. I like to say, look, we're all human. We all stumble. Let's own it like Carl Lentz did. And now we have an opportunity to practice forgiveness. I don't know Carl Lentz. He's not a hero of mine, but I admire the fact they came out and owned it. Let's hope he gets the help that he needs. Let's pray for his kids and for his wife, and so that his marriage can be healed. Do you believe he should get another shot at a chance at leadership in church? I'm not sure. Time will tell. We need to see the fruits of the Spirit grow in his life, ripen. But for now, I think we leave it at that. He's repented. Let's give him a break, and let's just pray for him. But what do you think? Put that in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Click share and subscribe so that you'll be notified when I post future videos. As always, thank you for tuning in. I love you and have a blessed week.